Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Silence So Loud podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to do a little preview of the season. I'm going to call my boy Tony, and we're going to just get into it because we got preseason right around the corner. So let's just get him on the phone now.
Hello?
What's going on, man?
Hey,
What?
brother, how's it going, man?
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
I'm all good down here, man. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, I told everyone we're gonna be talking Buccaneers strictly today, and just gonna do a little preview of the
Oh,
season.
yeah.
A little early, but we're gonna dive into it. So yeah, man, we got preseason. It's coming up this Saturday. So how you feeling about everything?
You know, um, I'm looking at the team as a whole right now, and I think they did an amazing job in free agency, re-signing all the players that they needed to bring back. Um, I give them an A+ on the draft. I think they had a heck of a draft as well. But even though they did all those great things, I still have difficulty putting them um, above 9 wins, maybe 10 wins this season.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like what everybody's saying. Everybody's saying like 8, 9. The people that are optimistic are saying 10. you know. But then it comes down to that like ultimate question. We've had the division now 4 years in a row.
Correct.
So are we going to get that fifth year? You think? I mean, I think we should. But
I
that's
think it's possible. I think it's
right.
possible. I think that the teams got better. I mean, I think the Falcons are a much better team. I think the Saints are kind of like still the same team, um, but I think the division is definitely within our grasp again. I'm just eager to see how the offensive coordinator and Baker kind of work together early on, especially early on.
I mean, I think they're going to work well. I mean, they have that history with the Rams. I mean, I know it's a short history, but you know, I know that Baker is happy with the coordinator. I mean, they definitely catered around Baker. you know.
Yes.
So I mean, we had that scare in the offseason because I kind of thought, are we going to get this done? You know, and I honestly, when you look at these like crazy quarterback deals, like you know, $50 million deals and all this stuff, I think that we gave Baker. I mean, for both sides, his side and our side. I mean, just like a great deal, like that. Our
Yes.
GM. I mean, like when you think about it, like 3 years, I mean, it's just kind of like a perfect deal when you think about it. You know, it's like 5 years would have been maybe a stretch. That's where
Yeah. No.
you get into the money problems. So it's like he's making great money for where he's at, and I was just so happy they got that done because for a while I started thinking we may not get this done. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was, especially once the season was over and he kind of wanted to test the waters a little bit. I thought that was our. I think the chance of us re-signing him went out the window. But I'm glad that it got done. I'm glad it's only 3 years. Um, and I like the youth movement that we have going on right now. A lot of young players coming up. Um, to tighten up that depth chart. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the season.
but
I'm ready to see what Baker has in season two, with the Buccaneers for sure.
I mean, who are the young players? Like, you've done your homework better than me. Like, who are you excited about? Wide receivers, or what are you
Oh,
what are you thinking?
I really like Bucky Irving,
Hmm.
the running back. I mean, yes, it's almost like we have two of the same type of running backs in the backfield right now, but I just feel like his speed. He's one of those players that at any moment can break one and
Right.
bring one to the house, and that to me is exciting to know that we have that. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so to me, he's one of the players that stands out right away. Um, the draft is the center.
Right.
that
That's what I was
we
gonna
picked up.
fixing to hit you with the center. What are you thinking? You think he's gonna earn that starting job? Because I'm
Oh, he
kind of,
will.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking they're gonna do. You know.
Day one, he will be the starting center.
Right.
You might not see much of him in the preseason, um, but for sure he's a huge. That was a huge pick
Right.
for us.
And like a pick that we really needed because I know Hainsey. He came from Notre Dame.
Hmm.
And he didn't play center the entire time he was there. But I didn't realize like kind of like the liability he was at center. I mean, I want
Yeah.
to say he was like number 2 in penalties or something for centers. Like it was up
Hmm.
there, in a bad way. So you know, I think he can play the line, but just not center. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's why that was like such an incredible pick. You know, kind of reminds me of like Tristan Wirfs. Like that you've got the guy, like you just got that feeling that you have the guy. And
Yeah.
we needed that. Like I said, no knock on Hainsey, but I just think that he didn't have the experience to be a center, and he kind of got thrown in there.
Yeah.
Like man down, you're up. You know, so
No, that pick right there. As soon as that pick was made, it was exciting to see because that's exactly a position of need, and it was the best available player at the time. So it was like the perfect storm when we picked them at
yeah,
in the draft. So
right. And then Evans, like we had a lot of people, including myself, we had him gone. Like he's gone. He's going to
hmm.
Houston. He's going to Texas. He's going home. All that stuff, and we land him. Like we keep him. You know.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. And you know what? One player, one rookie that I'm really high on is Tyke Smith,
Uh huh.
the defensive back.
Right.
Watch out for him, man. Watch out for that kid. I think he's going to win the nickel position for us early on, and he's going to be playing some safety too. That kid's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
I really think he's going to be a stud.
Yeah. I mean, the whole vibe of the team. I was watching a press conference today with Todd Bowles, and then I watched Vita Vea. And what I'm loving about this year is that it doesn't feel like it's anything new. It definitely like remember how they were saying we're not rebuilding, we're just reloading. Like that's kind of
Right.
the vibe that I get is that it's not really a new team, you know?
No.
I'm so excited that we got Jordan Whitehead back, you know?
Yes.
Like that's definitely a plus. But you got to like look at our GM and say he's definitely making an environment that these guys want to be in Tampa Bay. Like we
Absolutely.
we have had like no issues losing players or even another thing like players holding out, like
Right.
contract problems. It just seems like I don't know, he's like a wizard. Like he figures it out and he keeps these guys around, you know? I mean,
Absolutely.
like to go back to it, like I don't know how we kept Mike Evans. I mean, I know he loves like Tampa, but I mean, everybody had that guy gone. They're like, Mike
Yeah.
Evans is gone. He's going to go get paid, you know, and just it's got to speak something about the owners, the GM that they just like these guys like get here and they don't want to leave here, you
No.
know. I mean, today Vita Vea was saying like it's fun in the sun because they were talking about the team seems like that they're having like a lot of fun and a good time, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's the Florida sun, man. Like just having fun out here, you know. But
Yeah.
and same thing with Todd Bowles. I think that people are finally starting to realize like that's our coach, like
Yeah.
that's our coach. Like you know, quit saying oh Bowles is gone and everything. We won the division 4 years in a row, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a lot right there, you know. So I just hope that like if it gets a little sketchy, that people don't start. I mean, I know it's like a natural move, call for the coach's job, but I'm just glad that it seems like that Todd Bowles is like rolled into that position with the ease that he seems like he has right now. You know,
Yeah.
so because he seemed today when I watched the press conference, he just seems like he's relaxed, but he's like in
Hmm.
control at the same time. It's hard to describe, but Like he's in control, but it's like a really like I don't want to say passive, but like he's not, definitely not like a vocal coach, you
No,
know.
he's the meter. He's very quiet. He's like a quiet leader, but people know and respect him, and you
R-
can tell that the players are behind him 100%.
right. And that's so important now. Like that the
Yes.
players, like I said, no issues with players being like aggravated by their contracts and their futures and no,
No.
it's nice to have just pretty much the same group of guys just coming back with like little changes here and there, you know?
Yeah.
And that the changes that we have seen over the last couple of years have been draft picks. You know what I mean? Like we don't really
Yep.
have anybody that we landed like, well, I guess you could say Baker, but Baker was
Right.
definitely on that like prove it, which he absolutely did, you
Hmm.
know. And now what's crazy about Baker is that he's striking me like he's got that kind of like Tom Brady thing to him where he's acting like he's got a chip on his shoulder again about the
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because he went from being like a guy that people were saying to retire, you know. I mean, they weren't even saying like don't start him. People were talking about Baker should just go away, right?
Sure.
And then you sign a contract that's basically like I'm going to prove to you, you know, like my 1 year prove it deal, and now he's
Hmm.
landed like a huge contract, you
No,
know.
he earned it. He definitely earned that contract, and I'm looking forward to seeing him now in season two with the knowing the players now, knowing the guys. The offensive line is going to be better. We're a little bit deeper at receiver, so it's going to be fun to see what kind of numbers he can put up this year. I think Kate Otten is going to have a great season. I think he's actually going to be way more involved in the offense than he has been in the past. So I'm just excited about everything. I mean, Antoine Winfield re-signing with the Bucks, that was gigantic for us
Yeah,
on
yeah,
defense.
right. Him and Whitehead back there, like that's going to be
Oh
great,
man.
you know. And and then what do you think about the new Vita Vea, where he's looking like definitely doesn't look like a small man by no means, but like the trimmed down Vita Vea that I think is going to help with injuries.
I think
Like
so
a
too.
yeah, like I was telling you earlier, like I think that you know he's going to be better this year. You know,
Yeah.
so because they're
I
saying,
think my one concern on the team right now is the defensive line. I think we're thin right now,
mm-hmm,
especially now with Yaya down for the preseason.
yeah,
We're definitely thin at defensive line, so I would like to see if we can pick up maybe a lineman or two, just for depth, because I think that's going to be the key this season. Is going to winning in the trenches and seeing how we can keep the scoring down so we can put up more points than the other teams do. So that's my biggest concern right now is the defensive line. But other than that, I feel like we have good depth and youth throughout the whole roster.
right, right. And I mean, even the linebacker situation, like KJ Britt,
Yeah.
he seems like he could step up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a stretch, but maybe even be that leader on defense. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know what you're saying though. Like that, you look at the trenches and you just go. That's why I hate to put the pressure on him, but it really lies on Vita Vea. You know,
Yes.
if they're doubling up on him, the other guys have got to step up. But that's probably when I look at the whole thing. The offense, I'm not even like really like not concerned about really anything when it
No.
comes to the because I think with that new center that the O line is just going to get better, you know, and I think Baker is going to be more comfortable throwing to same guys and new guys, and
Mm-hmm.
run game will probably be about the same. So there's really like no issues I think on the offense. But yeah, if I had to like nitpick, I would say the trenches on defense that I'm
Yeah.
kind of like I don't know, but I mean we'll just wait and see. I mean they're saying that at camp that Vea and Cansey are gelling together pretty good,
Yeah.
so that's a plus. And when you look at the division, I know it's very predictable to be like, oh, we're going to win the division for the fifth year in a row. But I go back to, okay, so if not Tampa, then who's it going to be? Right? Like,
Exactly.
like everybody's saying, not everybody, but a lot of people saying Atlanta. And
Hmm.
I think that they're going to be a mess in Atlanta. I mean, I know all the
Me
Falcon
too.
fans are like, "What are you talking about?" But I'm predicting I think Kirk Cousins will go down. I think he's going to get
Yep.
injured. Or if he doesn't get injured, and let's just say the play's a little bit off, look at what they did in the draft, right?
Hmm.
They're like, I just, I don't know. I don't think Atlanta's really done anything to, you know, they don't seem like they made any moves that like really like concern me. And then of course Carolina and the Saints, they really haven't done anything either where I'm like, okay, that concerns me.
Right.
So I'm thinking they win the division.
Yeah,
Not
I think they can win the division. I feel like once you get in the playoff, all bets are off. You never know what can happen. But I definitely think the Buccaneers have a good chance at winning the division. I think Atlanta is going to have issues with their quarterback situation. I really don't think Kurt will make it through the whole season, and he won't be back next season. That's just that's my prediction.
right. Like
Uh,
like you get these guys, and I'm starting to call it like, and I know I'm biased because he came here and got us a Super Bowl, but
yeah,
I'm getting like where I'm like, okay, not everybody is like Tom Brady, you know,
right.
and I know, okay, that's not like a genius statement, but what I mean by that is that you have these aging quarterbacks, right? Like the Aaron Rodgers situation. I mean, wow, we both said he's going to go down. Did we know
Yep.
he's going to go down like in seconds? No.
Yep.
We didn't know that, but we both said Jets have made a big mistake. Rodgers is going down. Don't know when. And then boom, you blink your eyes and Aaron Rodgers is out for the year. Right?
Yep.
And you look at it like, not that Kirk Cousins is like old, but I'm just saying like that aging quarterback. Tom Brady like had that ridiculous diet. I mean, the ridiculous workouts, all the stuff he did. And I think that
Hmm.
guys now are just going, oh, I can do what Tom Brady did. Play till I'm like 40, 45 years old.
Yeah.
And I think that GMs are making that mistake of, oh, well, this guy's only like in his, mid to high 30s, so he's good to go, you know? And you go, no, no, they're not, like,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know
Yeah,
if this all
that's
adds up and makes sense, but
it makes sense. It makes sense. I just never like to give Kirk Cousins the kind of money they gave him to a quarterback that has never really gotten Minnesota over that hump. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Super Bowl type hump. Give him that amount of money and then turn around. First of all, he's hurt. Then turn around and draft with the first round pick, draft another quarterback. I mean, it just doesn't add up. You
yeah.
know what I
And then
mean?
you see at the draft, they're literally reenacting that movie Draft Day where the owner is like, you can't hear the conversation, but you can see the conversation that the owner is pulling that GM to the side going, what are we doing? You
Yeah.
know, like, we just broke the bank with Kirk Cousins and you draft a quarterback in the first round, like, you know, and I think even Kirk
Unbelievable.
Cousins is going, what are you doing? You know, and and then to tear apart the division more, right? You look at Carolina and you go, all right, you took our coordinator,
Hmm.
right? But is he ready? Is he ready to be a head coach? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. That's the question right there. But I will say this: they have made a lot of good moves in the offseason. I think that team right now in the power rankings, everywhere you look, they're favored to end up in the 32nd spot. But I really believe that team is going to surprise some people this year. I
Yeah,
really do.
yeah. But that's why I'm kind of like excited about our new offensive coordinator because I'm like,
Yes.
are him and Baker going to gel even better than we did with Canales? You know what I mean?
I think
Like,
so.
right. So, because
I
they,
think the playbook. I think the playbook you're going to notice from week one, straight out of week one, you're going to see how open the playbook is going to be compared to how it was under Canales early on in the season.
right, because then it seemed like with Canales that it was kind of like, how do I say it? Like, we're not really quite going for it yet. Like, the rhythm seemed
Right.
off at
It
times.
was it was it was basic. It was basic calls, basic running plays. Throwing some play action. This guy comes in, just two tight end sets. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch. Seeing the different formations that he's going to put out there. I think Baker's going to flourish from the get. I think he's going to have another great season as long as he can stay healthy, of course. But I think this is going to be the year that Baker's going to turn some heads for sure.
Right. And even if he does, I mean, I don't, of course, we don't want to see him get hurt. But
Right.
Kyle Trask, like, I feel like that, everybody bashes like that whole situation, like why we get Kyle Trask, but I look at it like sometimes it's just okay to get a good backup.
Exactly.
Like you need a good backup in the NFL because the injuries, anything can happen. So
Mm-hmm.
I have no when I look at the big picture with Kyle Trask and what we've done, a lot of like Gator fans, mainly Gator fans have said, they haven't given Trask a chance and blah blah blah. But look at it like we just got a good draft. We got a good backup.
Yeah.
That's what we got. It is what it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. You
Yeah.
know, and so of course, like I said, you don't want to see Baker go down, but if he goes down, we don't have to hit the panic button. At least I don't believe that we have to hit the panic button. You know, because I think
Yeah.
that Kyle Trask has been in a great spot of just being here for a couple of years now, learning, learning,
Yeah.
waiting, being a backup, you know. So
Yeah, I feel the same way you do. I think it's good to know that we have him as a backup. As long as he's okay being the backup, I feel like he's in a great spot. I can't wait to see what he does in the preseason. Um, See how much he has matured in the last couple seasons. But I want to see what Baker definitely does this year. I think the running back situation is deep and great. I think the wide receiver situation is good. I think Godwin is gonna have a monster. Health. As long as he's healthy, he's gonna have a hell of a season. I think. I
yeah,
think he's gonna be our
yeah,
our end all be all at the wide receiver position
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. And then even Mike Evans, you go, I don't know, I would, you always say, oh, he's 1 year older, but he just doesn't age. He doesn't
No,
age, you know. So he's got
no,
that Brady.
I'm betting. I'm betting he's going to get that 11th consecutive 1,000-yard receiving season to tie Jerry Rice this season for sure.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah, that'll be
Oh yeah,
great. Yeah, and back to Kyle Trask, one thing that should be mentioned about him is, like you said, if he wants to be a backup,
yes,
we have had no issues with him as far as I should be the starter. Like no quarterback controversy, you
no,
know. And if you look at the Baker situation and then Kyle Trask being drafted, before that, I think that a lot of teams would have easily had quarterback controversy. And
oh yeah,
once again, it goes back to that, you know, that environment that we have here in Tampa where these players just seem happy in their roles, because
hmm
you haven't really heard anything about Trask saying, "Hey, trade me," or unless I missed it, like, "Hey, I should be the starter. If I'm not going to be the starter, then I want to move on." Like we haven't really heard that, you
no,
know, and that's great. That's a great thing, you know. So,
yeah. I'm excited to see what he does as well.
have you, as far as like, so we talked like the division, what do
hmm
you think on the NFC? Do you think that there's like teams that, like, who's really like standing out? Because I want to win the division and then let's go deeper. deeper in the playoffs, like who do you think's really standing out to you?
Oh man, let me tell you, the Lions. I know we said this last season, but the Lions this season, I think this is their year. I really believe this is their year. They went out and improved an already awesome defense.
Yeah,
Um, and to me, that was the key to their off season. I think they hit the nail on the head on everything they did, and I think that's the team to beat in the NFC.
right. And my boss brought this up to me today. Actually, he's like, we start out with Washington, should get that win, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you got Detroit, and he's
Oof.
like, if we can, it's early, but if you can beat Detroit, right? If you can get that win, start out 2-0. I mean, that will be monumental. And I know it's way early, only 2 games, but if you look at the schedule, if they beat
Right.
Detroit, wow, they'll be recognized as, hey, they're an NFC contender as well. You know,
Yes.
because I'm with you. Like Detroit has that vibe of like they're right there.
They are.
They're right there. You know, and I don't know when I look at the NFC, I don't really know who else I would say is like right there. You know,
No, no, I really don't. I mean, you can make a case for the Eagles, who fell apart towards the end of last season. But other than that, I really don't see anyone that has it all put together quite like Detroit has it.
yeah,
And to me, that's the key right there. And I don't see anybody else right now in the NFC, you know, really pushing them off that. And now with I don't know if you heard about the Niners and trade of Ayuk, but um, that team now has a hole at the wide receiver position. You know,
yeah, right,
so
right, right.
so
So
so I don't know. I think Detroit right now is looking very very good as the NFC number one contender.
and when they lost their playoff game last year, you kind of felt that even when they lost. Like
Yeah.
you're like, okay, this is going to be a continuation. This team is just
Hmm.
going to carry on. That coach, man. You know, he definitely. What was that joke I told you? He's playing blackjack and he's got like a 20. And he's like, hit me. You know,
Yeah.
like that coach. He's just
Yeah.
you get that feeling that that's probably the team. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm with you too with Philly. Like you could say, oh yeah, Philly, but I don't know. You know, they seem like they're going to be slipping. I think the Cowboys are going to have all kinds of problems this year.
And that's what's funny because I look at the power rankings and I know that's just a talking point. They really don't mean anything, but everyone has the Cowboys like ranked 10th in the out of the 32 teams, and it's like how could you? That team is in shambles right
That
now.
team is in shambles right now, right?
It's incredible that
Right,
people would have them that high,
right,
highly ranked. You
right.
know,
It makes you want to look at our GM and just say thank you when you look at the Cowboys because you're like that team is a mess right now. You
it
know,
is. It
they
is a
they
hot
got
mess.
they got so many financial problems going on. I mean,
Yeah, they don't want to pay anyone. They don't want to pay anybody.
right, right. And then Dak, do you think this is it for him? He's gone after this year?
Yes, I don't know. Like I was watching an interview he did the other day, and I got this. Let me just get this season over vibe. I don't
Right.
know. He just sounded very like nonchalant about the outlook of the team, and I'm like that guy's ready to go. He's checked out.
Yeah, he's looking at the next year already,
Yeah.
right? You're like that guy's checked out. He's already looking at teams that need a quarterback. You know, I was watching that ESPN show. I think his name's Carson or something, or not ESPN on FS1. Carson,
Hmm.
and he was saying he's a New York guy and he's a Jets fan. So he's like already got Dak going to the Jets next year. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, it just you get that feeling that Dak is done, right? That
He's
they
done.
are they're they're just gonna have an average year, right? And then
Yeah.
even if they pull it off and make the playoffs, you just go ahead and say they're eliminated. Like it just they're a mess.
They are.
Right? I'm like they need to literally just bring in a brand new GM, right, and
Mhm.
just fix it, But I think until Jerry Jones is, it's just not going to happen, you know.
No,
So, and when you
no.
flip the script and go to the other side, the AFC, what are you thinking? The Chiefs again, or
You know, yeah, they're the sexy pick. The Chiefs are the sexy pick, but I'm going to give you a team that scares me if in the AFC, and that's the Texans, man.
oh,
The Houston
absolutely,
Texans. I
yeah.
feel the same way about the Texans as I do the Lions. It's like that's a team that pulled all the right strings in the offseason. They're a team, heading in the right direction. It's just they have everything going for them, and CJ just became an absolute stud right off the bat.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
get the
that
vibe
team's
from
got
CJ
it.
that he's going to be the next like elite quarterback, your Patrick Mahomes guy. CJ just seems
Yeah.
like a stud all around. Tom Brady loves CJ. You
Oh,
know,
he's amazing, and you can tell all his teammates love him. You
right,
know, you
right.
can tell he's well liked and respected in the locker room. I mean, the kid is just he's amazing, and the team is so deep that I don't know. I mean, I think that's the only other team. Yeah, you have your Ravens and you have your Kansas City Chiefs, but I think this is a team that can surprise everyone, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they end up in the Super Bowl this year.
Right. Yeah. Would not surprise me at all. And when I thought Mike Evans was going there, I was
Oh,
like, oh, that's the AFC team if he goes there, you
mm-hmm.
know? But luckily we kept him, you know? And then when you look at the other teams like Buffalo, you know,
Yeah,
they're my opinion, they're kind of like in the Cowboys situation, you know?
mm-hmm.
They really just can't do anything right now,
No,
you know? So yeah, you're right. The KC's like definitely the pick. Everybody is like, he's closing in on Bill Belichick. Is one of the greatest coaches. And I don't know if you
yeah,
saw John Gruden was out there. Did you see that or no?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw that.
Gruden was out there. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. All right. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I think
I
we.
think
What's that?
I think. Oh, I was gonna say. What do you think about your boy Rogers this season? What do you see? What do you see happening? What do you
Oh,
foresee for the Jets this season?
the Rogers collapse, right? Like it's not will it happen, right? It's when it will happen. The Rogers
Exactly.
collapse where what are we going to predict? Injury, or is it going to be pointing the finger at everybody?
Oh, I
what
think I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be point the finger at everybody. I think the coach is gone. I don't think the coach might finish the season. To be honest with you,
right, right.
I think that team is in such a disarray, and it's just a hot man. He's arguing with players already. I don't know. I don't know. I think that team is on the way down, and I know some people want them to succeed, and yeah, they're the Jets, and this is Aaron Rodgers, but I think that Aaron Rodgers from the past is gone.
It's
It's
gone.
over.
It's been gone. It's been
Yep.
gone. I mean, it was gone when you look at the Green Bay like ending where he's missing the throws and he's screaming at the receivers and
Mm-hmm.
what do we say, like he's the best regular season quarterback of all time,
Ever. Yep.
yeah. Really, like that's what he is. Like he's so, in my opinion, like he's just so overrated, you know and then people are like, oh, what are you talking about Aaron Rodgers being overrated? I'm like, he is overrated, you
He is.
know when you look at his career and when people talk about him, right? Yeah, okay, he's got a ring, right? He's got a ring. Trent Dilfer has a ring, right?
Yeah.
We can start naming the other quarterbacks that have a ring, you know. And I'm like, but
Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson's got a ring, right? Right? Brad Johnson's got a ring, but he's just that guy that like I don't know, man. He's just like a bad version of Tom Brady, like just bad,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know why they thought him going to the Jets was going to be some. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking.
No.
Maybe they looked at our 2020, COVID year Bucks and said, "Hey, Brady went there and got them, got them a
That's
Super Bowl,
exactly what they did.
right?
That's exactly what they did. They thought they were going to use the same formula with Aaron Rodgers, and it was just not going to work. And I
Right.
feel bad for the coach because I really like the coach, but this is just a bad situation that just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And even if they get Devontae Adams up there, it won't matter.
It
It
won't
really
matter.
won't matter.
Right. And what they don't get about Rodgers and versus like say Tom Brady is that Brady makes the players around him better. Right? He's
Yes.
got that Michael Jordan effect where he's going to take average players and make them bring out the absolute best in them. I mean, Brady brought out the best in the offensive line. We went from having like a decent offensive line to having one of the better offensive lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he was here. Not so much the second year he was here, but the first year when we won the Super Bowl, I mean, he made that line tight, right? And when you
Yeah.
look at Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't go anywhere and really make anybody better.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, it's like they just bring out the worst in them.
Mm-hmm.
You see Brady making the receivers better, telling them they got to run their route, perfectly and where to be and all that stuff. And Rodgers is just, I don't know, man. I think he should have been on the league a while back.
Yeah.
So
No, this is his last. To me, this is his last hurrah for sure. He's done after this season. He's out. Dak is in, and then hopefully we won't have to worry about Aaron Rodgers
right.
ever again.
But then you got to feel for the Jet fans because they're going to be like,
I do.
if they get Dak, they're going to be like, now we got to, now we got a Super Bowl. But then they're going to get the past his prime Dak
Oh
Prescott.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
So it's like if you're a Jets fan, you just look at the quarterback position and go, I don't know what to do anymore.
No.
We've drafted guys, we bring in free agents, it just nothing works. So it's almost like a curse for the Jets and their quarterback
Yeah.
situation.
They are definitely cursed. I'll tell you that.
Right, right. Because I can already envision it that Rodgers either goes down with injury or they have a mediocre season and he, blames everybody and blames the media. They just have an average year or whatever if he makes it through the entire year. And then they bring in Dak, in 25, and then Jets fans get excited and then they just realize that they got a Dak that's, that they wish they would have had like 3-4 years ago, you know?
Exactly.
So, all right, man. Well,
Oh my god.
we covered a lot. I'm excited. I was like, man,
Oh, me too, man.
let's talk football. I'm like, man, it's like creeping up on us. So
Absolutely, man. I can't wait for this weekend. Get to watch some football and definitely go Bucks.
go Bucks. All right, man. Well, I'll talk to you later, and thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.
Anytime, man.
All right, later.
All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you once again for listening to the Silence So Loud podcast. Go Bucks. I hope that we have a great season, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll talk to you later.